would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Brooks Welch. I'm a PR major, design minor. From Grand Rapids, Michigan. I go to school at Howard University.
Cool. Okay, so tell me about what you're doing this summer in New York.
So this summer I'm interning as a UX writer at Spotify. And basically UX is user experience, and it's understanding how design and words go together. So it's kind of like considered a design discipline. It's communication design, and in like layman's terms, so people like know where to find it. It's like if something was telling you instructions to get to the next step during like a claiming your profile process. That's basically what I would do. Right now I'm working on Spotify for Artists, so that's like directly going towards the people that we want to help and get a million artists to be able to live off their work, which is really cool. But if you're like, do you know what the little clippy thing was on computers where it looked like a paper clip, and he was like really helpful and like had little tips to tell you?
Maybe.
Like my, it's not even my generation. I think I was a baby at that time.
Maybe you're too far back.
But basically it's the words in the app, and like the people who name playlists and have those little, what is it? Just the little sub headlines underneath.
Like the descriptions and stuff.
That was somebody writing it, and it's amazing to be in those rooms and talk to people who put those together, because they have, everything's kind of like in a Google Doc, and it's just different versions of the same message.
Same thing.
And then we're like, does this one sound better? Does this one sound better? So yeah.
So like, did you have an interest in UX design before having your internship?
No, actually. I applied for original podcast and content, and then the design application, so it's two different ones. But I had so much fun with my cover letter, and I think that I learned so much about my cover letter writing through my old high school English teacher, Ms. Vlovalek. And she just was like, just tell us your story, like let us get to know your personality, like really make it shine, make it sing. And so I had a lot of fun, and they asked me for 2 writing samples from my cover letter. And then from then on, they were like, would you be interested in UX writing? And I'm like, I'm interested in Spotify in general.
Spotify, wherever they put me.
Yeah, literally. So it just went from there. I had 3 interviews, one with the head of UX writing of Spotify, Bev Maida, Tamara Helms, she's the supervisor of UX writing in New York, and then one with my manager right now, Amanda Lasnik. So it was like a long process, but it definitely like built a lot of confidence, you know, knowing that I could land something.
So tell me about like a typical day for you at Spotify. What does that look like? Like, is it meetings? Is it doing independent work? Let me know like how your day would typically go. So
it starts, you come in a window between 9 and 10, which is dope.
Oh, that's amazing.
Working at a tech company, like I went and talked to my manager at our first meeting, and she was just like, you don't need to come at 9, like come whenever you feel you can come at 9, but you know. And so that's amazing that it's just so laid back. And then you get there, they have breakfast. So you get free breakfast every day, and then you get free lunch every day, which is so amazing. They have like these cafeterias, and they're on like 2 different floors, and then they have like one where there's just like sandwiches. I love food, so I was like, that was definitely a perk for me. But basically I have meetings. Sometimes there's these things called design product reviews, and so I am in a room with like incredibly talented designers, people who've been working at Google, people who worked at Vine, people who worked at like Twitter and Facebook. All these different people came to Spotify, and then they just talk about their work, and you have people talking about the design of the Canvas features. You have them talking about like new upcoming things that they're trying to implement in Spotify in general. And it's just so inspiring, and you're just like, wow, am I really in this room right now?
With all these people and all these great minds.
All these great minds. And they don't micromanage you. So they're like, okay, you have this assignment.
And
like,
you just have to like kind of.
Yeah, just you have to be self-motivated, and you have to be like, I really want to get this done, do it to the best of my ability. And they have this thing where they say they don't hire the right people, they hire the best. They don't hire the best people, they hire the right people, which I appreciate, because they just want to know how people think, you know? So, but I don't know if I answered your question about the whole day. It kind of goes, it varies.
Yeah, it varies.
Yeah, so sometimes I have meetings with my manager, sometimes I meet with different designers, and there's a lot of hanging out with my intern friends too. We get our work done together.
Yeah. That's so much fun. So like, tell me about like the friendships you've made. Like, is it like have you met people from like all over the country and like how does
it's amazing because there was almost 89,000 applicants.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And they picked 79 people. And they range from being as young as me, being 20 years old, going to my junior year in college, to being PhD students.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's like a range. If they're a range. Wow.
And so like you have your software engineers, data researchers, you have user researchers, product designers, stuff like that. And I'm going in as UX writing. I have friends who are doing the visual design aspect too. And they're all just amazing people. I'm meeting people from like Harvard and Yale, and I'm meeting people who went to, I don't know, like all of the technology colleges, and I can't think of the names right now. But they're all just very, the level and very kind and just super smart. So it's amazing to be in the same rooms as them and to like talk to them and just get to know them as people, because people can kind of be like, oh my god, like they're from like Harvard, like whoa. But yeah, it's just like having that self-belief that like, yeah, you know, everything happens for a reason, and that's why I'm here.
So how did it feel when you figured out that you got like accepted or that you got the internship? Like, how did that feel for you?
It was crazy. I was actually in the bathroom at my job. Like, I got an email from Hannah, and she was over recruiting. And then she called me, and I was on the toilet, and she was like, "Hey Brooks, like, I just want to let you know that you did get the internship." And I was like, you know, I didn't want to scream in the bathroom, but I was just very excited. I tried to stay calm, you know, because it's like, you don't want to be like, oh my god, what? But I felt like that on the inside, and I was just like, wow, thank you so much, this is incredible. It's been such a process since then. It was like 4 or 5 months of like the entire thing happening. So at that point, it was just like, even being considered this far was like more than
out of that many applicants, that's incredible.
Yeah,
truly.
And I just felt like I learned so much about being able to trust the process and being able to just like trust that what's for me is for me. And like if I was ever rejected, then that means that it just wasn't for me. And for it to work out and for me to feel like I kept a level head the entire time was more rewarding, I feel like, because it's just like, wow, I felt like I was able to kind of like mature a little bit more
through the process, like knowing that if you got it, then it was meant for you, and if you didn't get it, it just wasn't meant for you, and there's something else coming. Yeah, definitely. That's like a really good mindset to have, and it's hard for a lot of people to like obtain and like make themselves have that mindset instead of feeling like when you get rejected it's because you're not good enough, or like it's, you know, I don't know, it's a hard thing for a lot of people.
Especially because like comparing yourself to everybody and seeing like everyone's popping. And one thing that I have to
she got an internship here.
Literally, you have to like stay level and know that people are just posting their success. Like, they're posting the days that they look good. They're posting the internship that they got. They're posting just all the good things. Their birthday. They're not posting when they're like sad or when they don't feel like they're doing well or when they look a hot mess. Some people do, but
it's like it's just, social media just is not a holistic representation of people's lives.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's hard for like if a lot of people if they just see social media and see all these people doing good, it's like it's hard for them to like feel encouraged to try and do something. It's like all these people are doing, you know. Social media is definitely, it's a good thing and a bad thing, you know. But that goes for everything in moderation.
Right. Pros and cons.
Yeah. So how has like, besides work aside, like being in New York and like commuting to your job every day, like how is it just like being in the environment and the atmosphere of New York? Like how has that been for you?
Yeah, I love New York. Like, I could see myself here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I love commuting. The subway is so musty and smelly, and I just I love it. It's just I just think that
true New Yorker.
No, I'm totally over exaggerating, but I really do enjoy it. Like, it's fun. Like, I feel so like I'm on my way to work, like very busy.
Yeah, like a businesswoman. That's literally how it feels. Like when you're going to where you need to go, you're like, I'm doing something.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm on a mission, and I like hop into this like people mover, and it's just like every movie that I've ever watched that was set in New York.
In New York, you're in the movie. Yeah, 100%. Like, if I could describe how it feels to like being here, it's like you're in a movie. Like, you're actually there.
Yeah. I love that part about it.
So you said, like, you would see yourself being here one day, like, you want to come back to New York?
Yeah, I would love to be here, have, you know, when we're thinking about dreams and everything, having a spot here, having a spot back in Grand Rapids. But definitely working here would be very cool because I just also like how free it is to be expressive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to worry about you being over the top or maybe, like, I just love expressing myself through clothes too. So, like, that's one thing that I love about New York that I don't think I could get anywhere else, where it's just like you can just do you.
Yeah, and like no one cares.
Right, and people are just singing on the street. You have people performing in the subways. It's just a very expressive place. So if you love being able to, I don't know, like you feel that that is part of you, then this is just a great place.
This is the place, definitely, because, like, I feel brave here. Like, if I had to put one word, it's like I can literally do what I want. Like, dress how I want and, like, not... If I was in Grand Rapids, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to get clowned on today or something. But it's like, no, like, literally, like, everyone's doing their own thing. And it's like a mutual agreement when you're walking past people on the street. Like, you do you, I do me, and, like, that's fine. Like, we can just exist like that. Like, I love that.
It is. Yeah, brave is definitely the word. I definitely said powerful before, too.
Yeah, it is powerful.
It's a strut. Like, you're going into your program at NYU every morning. Like, I'm going into Lower Manhattan, the World Trade Center, and, like
wow.
going and doing my thing, too. So it just feels like there's this sense of, like, wow, like, I was really made for a time such as this. Like,
Really, yeah.
it just seems like everything kind of just accumulated into these moments.
100%. So, like, thinking about back to yourself in high school and as a young creative, like, if you had to give yourself a piece of advice, like the high school Brooks who, like, wants to do all these creative things, like, what would you tell yourself, or what advice would you give yourself, you know? I know that's you could think about it for a second, because I know that's definitely, like, a weighted question, but...
I know. Sometimes I feel like that's, like, a whole nother lifetime.
Really, like, I'm still in high school, but I know, like, that's how it's going to feel, because...
You just grow so exponentially.
Especially after high school, it's like you're on your own and you just grow at your own pace. There isn't, like, a system deciding how you grow anymore, you know? It's crazy.
I think, in a really deep sense, understanding that just not being scared of rejection, first of all, and not being scared of and understanding that there's enough room for everyone, like we talked about before. That was just, like, a huge realization that I had in college, because if you are scared of taking chances, if you're scared of people rejecting you, then you're not going to be even accepting of other people either. And so you're not going to be able to be as collaborative as you want to be. You're not even going to be able to take in criticism or any feedback about your work ever. And so I guess not being so closed off and being so protective of what I want to do, I would have told myself that, like, don't be so protective of your work, because what you do it and why you do it is to make other people feel something, to put some good out into the world, you know, and, like, it's just part of you. You want to, you can't help but do it. So I think just telling myself, like, whatever you see, what the heck am I trying to say? I guess just, like, take a chance on yourself and actually listen to the compliments that people give you.
Yeah, and don't just like, oh, thank you. But, like, listen, actually, like, take it.
The themes that they keep bringing up, like, that will help you understand who you are more. And if it's just positive, like, believe those things, because it's so easy to believe the bad things, but believe the good things, too.
Yeah, that's the kind of advice that I think, like, any young creative or just a young person in general can really take, because it's hard to pursue these type of, like, creative careers, whether it's, like, UX design, whether it's, like, photography, filmmaking, like, any media or communications. It's definitely challenging, but as long as people can keep in mind that there's enough room for everyone, and you really just, the first step is trying, and if you get rejected, you get rejected, but you have to keep going, because if you let that stop you, you're not going to get anywhere. But yeah, Definitely. Well, thank you for talking to me. What is your social media?
Dang, I didn't ask you.
It's okay.
Okay, yeah, my social media, Instagram at Brooks Charis, Charis. What's yours?
Oh, mine is Mariah.gb, and I have photography account Mariah.Barrera. You know, took a little hiatus, but I'll be back soon. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Yeah.